Hello Gemini, welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I have prepared here now, pre-shuffled your cards for this reading. I feel like I usually get a tune of what the round of readings that come from Aries to Pisces, what they can talk about and what could be of an issue. And of course this is a general reading, it may not be for you, but if it is, then and you like what I do, of course, then just please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and so on. I feel like this round of reading is going to talk about love and hate relationships, something we and I have talked a lot about yin and yang on my channel, dualities, polarities, things like that. And this love-hate thing is similar. It's still this that can show up in your life, but something that, especially if you go through what could seem like a spiritual awakening, a spiritual journey, a seeker's journey, something like that, then you will probably see things, understand things, learn things, be confronted with things that could change your mind about something. Love-hate relationships. So in the Aries reading, it came across in one way, in the Taurus in another way, but there's this, that there's one side and then there's another. And you know, in this case, it feels a bit like, and the cards show up like this, so this is also different than I normally do. I feel like this is the center card, right? And this would normally be in the crown position, so what is going on in your head, what you think in your head. And then there is this card on the side here, and it kind of tells me something like, and you are a thinker, Gemini, right? You are known to be the twins. You are already duality. You live with duality every day. You have a pro and con, a curiosity, and then this, oh, I shouldn't have intervened in this, or I'm curious to see what this is, but then, oh, there was a downside to this, right? This constant back and forth, you have this all the time. So you are pretty much aware that there is a pro or con, I think. What I get here today is something like having maybe a spiritual or a more intuitive understanding of a situation. And then there is a more earthy approach. Let's say, for instance, especially if you have had a kind of a spiritual awakening process going on, where you have had, let's say you had physical symptoms in your body, tinnitus, you have coughs, you have like heat, burning sensation up and down your spine, you have exhaustion, you have these are just some of those symptoms that people talk about in spiritual, joint aches. It all could seem like a flu. It all could seem that it relates to something else. Heart palpitations that come and go. You can't really seem to like find a footing with it, right? So let's say you go to the doctor. That would be this card. You go to the doctor and the doctor makes all kinds of tests, blood samples, whatever, and they all are negative. So there's nothing wrong with you. But then on the other hand, you have another conclusion, right? You have other thoughts that could explain why you are experiencing this. But if you would tell the doctor this, they would just shake their head and not have this understanding of you, right? like the system or the medical field would not recognize this other approach to your symptoms or understanding of your symptoms, perhaps they wouldn't do that. They would not accept it. They would just think that you are delusional, maybe, or at least it's a field that is not scientifically proven, and so on. So this is kind of the theme that I have today. So there is you could say, a scientific, a medical, very society approved, understanding of something. And then there is an alternative one. But the alternative one is not something we can say out loud. It's not something that would ring a bell to a doctor or a scientist. It's like having maybe even a sense of a download, an epiphany or something, that it's like you know something, or you think you know something. But if you would say it to your friends, to your family, to the doctor, at work, to scientists, they would not approve of you. They would not approve of what you are thinking. Maybe because this is not something that can be proven, maybe there is no proof as such. They can't find it in the blood work. They can't find it in other tests that they make. They can't necessarily, or it could be, let's say that you have some downloads. You do have downloads that come to you, but you don't have the education. So let's say that you have downloads about scientific stuff, but you are not a scientist. Like, you have no scientist education. So if you want to apply for a job, for instance, they would not accept you, because the rulings that come here are very set in stone, like they don't budge like that. I remember I have a cousin my age. He is a Catholic priest, and he said to me once, a long time ago, when he was still studying, he wasn't ordained a priest yet, but he said, well, within the Catholic Church, nothing severe is changing within maybe a period of 300 or 400 years. Like the traditions and the sets and rules and everything, the Bible teachings and everything there, it doesn't really change that much. It's very unchangeable. It's guarded by some very thick walls, you could say. It's a doctrine that stays the same very much. It's like the Vatican. It's like a city with a land, a country within other countries, but it stays in a very particular way for a very, very long time before there is enough proof or reason to change something. And it's kind of that feeling that I have. So if you were a priest within the Vatican and you had some, downloads, you had some talks with God or something that would challenge the doctrine, you could say, the teaching, the environment, the understandings, you wouldn't be heard. Actually, you could be thrown out, right? You could become an outcast because you are threatening like a current situation. So that's what I feel like here. Like there is something that you are wondering about, and then there is the world, the people in your life, your family, society teachings, traditions, moral, all kinds of stuff that this is the world you're in, right? This would be the world you're in. but this could be what you are actually, faithful to. Do you get my point? Like this is the world you're in and what's going on there. So let's say this is about your work life. So your work life is influenced by this. Your private life is influenced by this. Because this is something that where your faith is. This is something you believe in and a hobby of yours. But it's more than that. It has to do with your intuition, your crown chakra. It's something you understand, something you have realized, something you have knowledge about. You have even had help, like you have had your guides download this to you, right? And because I have a Lemuria card here, I somehow have the feeling that it has to do with healing. Lemuria is very feminine. It's about beauty. It's about, but beauty in the sense of, like this can be aesthetic, things you look at. It feels good. It emanates a vibration of health and vitality, life force. It's definitely beautiful to look at, but it has an energy also. It has something that it exudes something. Like if you have a crystal here, this is very pale rose quartz here. Well, the rose quartz is usually known to be a stone that is about love. So it's a stone that, well, it can have an aesthetic look that we may like or not like. This one is unpolished, it's raw, but you can shape it. You could even make a figure like or a little figure like this. You could or a little you could shape it, right? But the raw material is like that, and it has an aesthetic. Again, you can shape it to something if you want to, but you can also just let it be. The point is that it has an energy field to it that is exuding some kind of energy. So again, we could talk about that you have something here that is going on, that this can be a part of yourself, right? I know I'm just throwing out some examples here of what this could be. So let's say you have a feminine core here, that you have something about you that is quite feminine. It is soft. You like the idea of healing. Maybe you actually are a healer, but you could be born in a male body, and you may have been raised to live an active male life, meaning that you had to get a good education and work and so on, but actually you prefer quiet and or you prefer environments that are kind. You prefer something that is maybe a bit more peaceful and kind and non-aggressive, non-dramatic. Maybe you like to help, that you are a helper here. But you could have been raised to be a business person, right? Because economics is a good education choice. But in your heart, as I said, in your private life, there's something else going on here. So you see, you have, this can be this, what I call love-hate, that there's a part of you that, well, maybe you actually love it, but at the same time it brings you great grief, because there are things that you can't lean into that much. Then it will hurt you, So this can be a part of yourself that is, well, either it's, as I said, it seeks quiet and kindness, and it seeks something like that. It could be the other way around. It could be that you actually like excitement, you like something fiery, you like drama, you like to get out there. But at the same time, you know that maybe your spouse likes the quiet, or at work they don't like that like emanating fire all the time. Do you see my point? It's like I know it's me, and I like I like it here, right? I like it, but I can't really share it. Like I can't, if I put it out there, if I put it out here, it's like I will probably be misunderstood. I will probably be judged. It's like a closet thing. That there's something in your private that is you here. But then there is a work life, or a family life, or a friend life, or a society life here that would be, you know, you get my point. You're clever, Gemini, right? But this is what it's about. So there's something we love. Maybe about ourselves, maybe about, again, you always hold duality, the twins, right, Gemini? So it could be a shadow side that you have, that you actually love engaging in when you are private, but when you are at work or something, or you are among family or something, you're not showing it. Or then it's like this is the it's like this is the core, like this is a, how can I say that? This is something I think is in you. It is you. But it brings great joy. It brings you great joy in certain situations. And then it brings you great grief in other situations. Judgment, maybe people judge you, or you know, things like that. It's something like that I have here. So let's have a look at this card here. Okay, communication and co-creation. Because this is a Lemurian card, it has to do with, I want to say, this is not necessarily like communication with your co-workers. This is a more spiritual thing, the Muriel card here. This has to do with, you see what they look like they look more like aliens, or they look like spiritual beings. So let's say you do have communication here with the other side. You do have communication with ancestors perhaps, or spirits. Maybe you are somehow a medium here. Something is contacting you, something speaks to you. And as I said, actually you may like this communication. Like maybe you don't find it invasive or problematic when you are alone, perhaps here. But when you are at work, this can be a problem. Or if you would say this to your doctor, for instance, they would maybe not, get it. Do you see my point? That's what I feel like. So it's like there is something here wanting to speak to you, And it talks about co-creation. So it's like spirit would like to co-create with you. Maybe you would like to co-create with spirit. But again, there is this, I love this, I like this. But on the other hand, this is not something I can say out loud. This is my secret. Because if I would say it, I would be judged. If I would, only certain people in certain circles perhaps would appreciate this. Like only certain people who are into alternative understandings would appreciate this, right? People that go through spiritual awakenings, spiritual experiences would maybe understand this. But other people that are, you could say, that live in the more normal matrix understanding, they don't get it. And I can't use it as an explanation. I can't say it. Like this could be the feeling that you have telepathy with someone or something. That you feel, you are empathic maybe, you feel something, you experience something, you have some kind of communication coming to you. Maybe you're also sending communication, right? You send something, you receive something. So maybe you have faith in something here, like you trust in something. We could even say God or Jesus or other deities. It could be your spirit guides. It could be a connection to, like if you believe you are a starseed here, so you have a connection with your home star constellation or something like that. But if you should say this out loud in like the world, that you talk to your spirit guides every night or every morning to know what kind of day it's going to be. You could have some kind of judgment, right? Let's have a look at this. So I get deceit here. So deceit, you see how this play out. Something, I feel like what could be sent to you from society, from maybe even your friends or family, would be that this is a fraud, like this is fraud. That this, whatever you may be experiencing here is deceitful, that you shouldn't trust it, that it's bad, it's the devil you are in contact with, and so on. So that could be a sense of, it could even be, let's say, yourself, like maybe once you thought that this was something that was not supposed to maybe you thought it was bogus, like maybe you thought you didn't understand the messages, maybe you didn't like them. And again, maybe there could be a judgment here about what this is. As I said, in a priest in the Catholic Church, for instance, having communication like this with, let's say, starseed communication. Well, if you say that out to the cardinal in the church, I get that. I guess that they would say to you that this is deceitful, that it's the devil communicating with you. That there's only God, there's only Jesus and God, and nothing else, right? And if you worship or have communication with something else, it's the devil. You could be deceived here. That there is a possibility of being lied to, or there's a possibility that this is not something you can trust. So this could be what you are hearing, right? What other people would tell you, or as I said, a doctor would say, yeah, but this is this could even be a problem. You have paranoia, right? You like the way that they would approach this would be something like you hear voices in your head, so this must be paranoia, so you're going crazy. We put you on some kind of medication. I'm not saying that medication is a bad thing necessarily for everyone, and of course you should consult medical staff if you believe that there's something really wrong with you. I'm just saying that if you're on my channel and you go through something that seems like a spiritual awakening or spiritual, because something is happening that is literally changing the way you think, literally changing how you see yourself, and this can be very scary actually. So if something like this is going on, I get that the surrounding world would see this as perhaps deceitful thoughts, or this is not normal, right? It's not normal, so there must be something wrong with it, because everything we don't know, everything that's unfamiliar, and everything the medical field doesn't recognize as possible, or there's very little knowledge about it and very little understanding about it, immediately it's dismissed. Immediately it can be the reason. Immediately, instead of thinking that this could be a helpful guidance for you, it could be regarded as not normal, crazy making, paranoia, and you need medication, right? Something like that. Maybe you even feel like maybe you don't know whether you should trust this or not. You may have your own doubt here, right? What this is. But then I feel there's also something else here. There's something else. The Rainmaker. Yeah, interesting. You see, the Rainmaker, when you look at this image, it's like the Rainmaker can make rain happen, even in the most driest season. So you see, because of their dance. So how is that possible? Well, it's probably possible because they are doing magic, right? They're doing magic tricks here. Otherwise, you can make rain come in a dry season where it hasn't rained for a month, right? Just because you're dancing, that shouldn't be possible. But you see, if someone can use magic here to influence the elements, the sky, the rain, the water, it's powerful. So of course someone here would say that this is like, if this one wants to stay in power somehow in your life, they would call it out as a problem, right? They would call it out as a problem. But maybe it isn't a problem. The Rainmaker, the way they also like look here, how they are dancing, and the face expression also tells me that like the Rainmaker can be a kind of interruption it interrupts a current. It can do something that interrupts the current dryness and bring in rain when necessary, right? I see this a bit like the rainmaker. We call the rainmaker when we need rain, when we need the soothing of the rain, we need the water. So this one is not necessarily dancing unless they are called to dance. It means that it's an ability. It's something that you can do somehow. And you can dance this dance if you want to, or you can not do it. The point is that because you have some communication here, it's like this is a power, right? You have a skill here, some kind of skill that you can put to use. But I feel like there is something soothing about it. It soothes a problem. So I talk about rain here, but this could be anything. That you have an ability to, what is that called? In certain situations, it's like you can be, again, we see it here a bit like being the intermediary between something. So between the dryness and the rain, you could be the intermediary that has the ability to call something in here. We could even say, I talk about rain, we could say peace here. Like you could have a very unique skill in being this intermediary that takes energies from both sides and creates something that is now solving the problem, soothes something, heals something. So from a yin and a yang perspective, if they can't seem to see eye to eye, you would be the one in the middle who can. Right? Like having a very specific skill here that can, if someone is ill and we are looking for healing, you could be the one that brings those two together. So we take great illness, we take great healing, we put it together, we do our chakra work here, we do something. We stir the stew here, and then we create something. We create something that soothes here, that brings healing, that brings medicine, right? When everything is dry, the rain is medicine. That's what we need. So it seems like, Gemini, you have an ability to bring something, stir it, create it, do something with it, be this intermediary between the heavenly realm and the earth. We could also say that this could be the earth realm and this is the cosmic realm. And because you have this co-creation ability, you can bring something from the cosmic realm to earth that earth needs, perhaps. A new medicine, maybe. A new healing ability. We could also take information from earth that is now given to the heavenly realm, because the energy there is different than it is on earth. We could even say that this could be, because it talks about communication also, maybe you are an interpreter between the earthly realm and the spiritual realm. Like you have communication here back and forth to like help these two parties, you could say, to understand each other. So you are a kind of an interpreter, an intermediary between something that is seemingly very different, like this is red and this is blue, like there is a difference. But what you are doing here can be a soothing, a healing, we could even say that, let's say that what you are doing in private here could be just sitting at home and you are focusing on, let's say there is a war somewhere, and the opposite of war would be peace. And what you are doing could be that when you sit alone and you meditate here, that you are asking for these energies to be blended, right? That you're calling in more peace to a very uncertain situation. And this is, maybe you dance, like maybe you are doing your dance in your living room. You are calling in the peace here, or you are calling in something else. Maybe this is just something you do by yourself. Maybe you dance in the woods. Maybe you but you see my point, that this could be something you are doing that is very private. But if you were to say this, like in your, if you would say that you are a rainmaker here, in the more public eye, it would maybe be seen as this. It would be seen as negative, as bad, as who do you think you are to intervene in something here? Or it's not possible, it's a lie. What you are engaging in, it doesn't help. It's just a lie, it's a hoax. It's not trustworthy, but you think it is, like you believe it is. That we could have someone with great manifestation skills here, like they have the ability to manifest different situations between yin and yang here, or between up and down, between war and peace, between man and woman. Let's say if you are a counselor here, and you are counseling between a divorce counselor, right? And you are counseling between the man and the woman, the wife and the husband. And maybe there is something that you are very good at here, for them to see some kind of common ground, for them to understand each other better, that you could be this kind of interpreter, because you have an ability to, like, I get something about understanding each side. To stand here, I guess that you would probably need to be quite good at not judging. Like, otherwise, we would usually prefer one of them. Like we would like one better than the other. In order for you to stand here and make this blend, you could say, you have to be objective, not subjective, right? But objective, neutral, and then do your thing here. Again, the rainmaker, it doesn't matter what kind of soothing. If there is a lot of turmoil and war, it would be, people would probably think it would be nice to add peace to a situation so it becomes less extreme, right? But we could have the other way around also, that if something becomes too passive, too quiet, that's also not good, right? If we have a person that is ill, for instance, and they lay in the bed, and they have been laying there for days, if they become too passive, too non-responsive, we need action, right? We need something to be done, otherwise they may die. So maybe we need to call in that case, we need to call in you could say, something else. We need to call in action. We need to call in an ambulance, right? We need to call for something that takes action. Do you see my point? It's like, well, I've said this before on my channel, that we have polarities in this world. We have up and down, good and bad, and so on. But the way we consider good or bad always depends on who you are. There are some very primal needs that all humans have, like we need water, shelter, warmth, food, and so on. But besides that, you could say there's a number of varieties that people would choose from. If you have, for instance, a lot of water in your chart, in your zodiac chart, you probably like peace and calm and quiet and friendliness and so on. And accommodation and cooperation, you probably like that. If you have a lot of fire in your chart, you would be a risk taker. You would be more prone to adrenaline kicks. You wanna drama is a fuel for you somehow. So you see, this idea about something is right or wrong, well, in my opinion, it depends on who you are or what you are. Like, are you more fire or air, or are you more earth or water? It depends on what you identify with and what you can feel that you need. Like, if you need peace, it would be a problem to be in a very drama-oriented work situation. That would be like an overstimulation. But if you are a fire sign in a very drama-oriented work situation, well, that would probably be great. So you see, it in my book, well, I've worked a lot with yin and yang energy, up and down, black and white, good and bad, right and wrong. I've come to this conclusion that there's probably not really one. Like, there probably isn't one. It all depends on who is looking. There are basic needs. For instance, if you put a naked human into the icy, frosty winter time in Greenland, I guess doesn't matter what kind of human you are, eventually this will be very cold and very difficult to survive there. But that is like the extremes of something, right? And it has to do with the basic like combination of our human, being, you could say, that we are constructed in this way. But if you ask an ice bear about the cold weather in Greenland, they don't mind, right? They can jump into the water and swim in it. They don't freeze. If you ask the fish in the water, they don't mind the cold. But they would maybe mind extreme heat, because the water would change temperature and maybe they can't survive in hot water. So it all depends on who you're asking. Like, what is the world like? Whose glasses are you looking through, right? And the combination of their beingness and what they need, what it needs. What does the human body need? So primary needs, and then secondary needs could be something like active life, more passive life. What fuels you? What is the right environment for you, right? So again, this feels to me something like, let's say you have an employee here and you have an employer. And for those to understand each other, the employer has a job and they need an employee to fit into this job. And there are certain requirements here. But maybe this person cannot meet those requirements. They cannot bring all of it. Is it possible still to find some solution? Is it possible, to help in some way? To help them see each other? I've talked about also on my channel this idea of when we meet an opposite. So when a man meets a woman, and we're usually attracted to our opposite. We're usually attracted to something that is pointing directly to one of our shadow sides. So, if that's the case, a shadow side is usually something that has been shamed, that has been blamed, that has been called names and considered as bad. That's why it ends up becoming the shadow. It's a part of us that we are not proud to say that this is me, that this is part of me also, because we have such bad experiences with it. Like if we say it out loud, it will be shamed. It will be called like it's a problem. It's not liked. We will be guilt-tripped or blamed or whatever, all the way back from our upbringing. So if you are a little fire sign, for instance, and you grow up in a family of water people that like quiet and peace and accommodation and cooperation, they don't like power struggles. They are not into this butting heads. You will probably be told to dim all of that down. But it's still part of you, right? So it's not wrong. It's just that those who were in front of you did not appreciate it, but you can be in front of other people who like it. They would like it, but it becomes a shadow, meaning that you're not showing it. People can't see it. It's hidden, usually. So when you meet your opposite, they are usually like that. They could be very fiery. They could be very brave. They could be very go-getter energy. They could be fierce. They could be, speaking their mind. They could be loud, and so on. So you get drawn to that. But you see, it's like having your shadow right in front of you, and you're confronted with everything that you feel very shameful of yourself. Having such direct contact can be quite difficult. It's very difficult to understand why we are drawn to them, but at the same time we can also hate them. Or we can feel uncomfortable with some of it. With some of it, we can feel uncomfortable. And at the same time, we are attracted to it. It's interesting, if you take a couple like that, it's usually the one who was very brave and outgoing and so on. They may have, issues with the idea of being quiet and calm or collected, or not always speak their mind, not always be loud. Like they could be attracted to someone who is quiet, who doesn't have to state their mind all the time, who is who is maybe more emotional, who is maybe more of a homebody, maybe, or and it's interesting when they meet each other. It's like, because that's their shadow, right? What we are doing is actually we come together because we are activating the shadow. Coming together with someone who is opposite than you get to see your shadow. And we are drawn to that because we all want to be whole. We all want to be able to embrace all of ourselves, that there's nothing that is bad, that there's nothing that is, that we have to hide in that way. Somehow we are all longing for that healing. We are all longing for that healing somehow. Even though we don't know it, or we've never thought about it in that way, we all long for something. So we get attracted to our opposite. Great. This is great for a period of time. You probably have amazing sex and so on. Then it starts to become a little more problematic, because both of you are facing your shadow. And both of you have a problem with your shadow. Like it brings up bad feelings. So yeah, you can come together with someone that is your shadow. Whether you're supposed to stay with them is a different matter, because this can be highly problematic unless you know. Unless someone can tell you here, yeah, but it's because you trigger each other's shadow here. You are attracted to each other because of it. But you can also not stand each other because of it. Or you get highly triggered by each other because of it. So again, this, as I said, love-hate thing, that there's something that when it's in your face, you stand right in front of it, you stare into it. It's a very strong mirror. It's a very strong mirror. And the Rainmaker here stirs something, like it can soothe, it can bring soothing and healing, right? But it can also like to make rain come in a dry season, you have to change something. Otherwise, there is no rain coming. In this case, I feel like energy work, right? That you have to, for a Rainmaker to make rain like that, they have to be able to use some kind of tool or some kind of, they have to affect something. Otherwise, it stays the same. Like making the same routine doesn't give you a change. If there is stalemate in the current, there is no change coming. The change comes when something else is added. You drop something else in there, then something else happens. Nothing is growing, but when you put the seed in and you water it, then it could start grow. But if the ground is dry, there are no seeds, nothing is growing. the rainmaker would come in with the rain and the seeds, and then something would change, right? So we can't have change unless something is influenced here, something is done here. Like the connection or the understanding, the peace or the truth cannot be obtained unless something is done. Like some kind of negotiation or some kind of work here must be done, otherwise it stays the same. So someone comes in the middle here and does something, affects something. But you see, the outside world could see this as dangerous. They would see it as a problem, perhaps. They would maybe even see it as powerful. More powerful than it. You know, it's like I guess that when just something like this, right, that when I sit here and flip some cards, right, and people, well, they may not like it, right? They may not. Some people would think that oracle cards and energy cards and tarot cards are a fraud. It's a divination tool, like a pendulum or runes or reading tea leaves or other old traditions in that way. But it has there's no proof to it. Maybe you have a difficult time proving this. You know, like maybe what you may be doing here or what you could be doing here, it could be a difficult thing to know if it actually matters. Let's say if you have a big ambition here, that over here we have Ukraine and we have Russia here, you know, and we want to make a peace treaty here between them. So we are seeking two opponents here to find a middle ground. So let's say you would like to do some rainmaking here. And you do this by some kind of ritual or dance or something, and you think about these energies and how you can mix them or something, right? How you can make them see each other, right? In a different way, how you can make them understand each other in a different way. But maybe there's no proof of this. And if you would tell this to the outside world, they would see this as just waste of time or a hoax or something, that it's not true. But you could start with little things. Let's say you have like friends you have friends and they have a quarrel, they disagree on something and they split because of it. Well, you could try in your living room, right, to sit with the energies and try to sit if you can blend them like that. If you could blend them with an intention that you would like it to, you know, be a more accommodating or understanding relationship. And you will see if they somehow find their way back together again then. Then you will maybe have your own little proof that, well, would they have found their way together without you doing this? I don't know. But does it hurt? Like, does it hurt to do this? Well, it probably depends on your intentions, right? Because I guess the rainmaker could also do the opposite. Like, it means that they are influencing energy here. Let's have a look at the book here for the rainmaker. But that's how I see the rainmaker. It can bring a great change to very difficult times, right? If there's dry land and no, all the crops are withering, it makes great difference if there's rain. And in old times, this is the shamanic deck here. In old times, a rainmaker would be like a medicine man, medicine woman that has very different specific skills. They can make a miracle here. Rain would sometimes mean a miracle. The rainmaker is the master of manifestation, who can call on the element of nature to serve the greater good. When the power to co-create is used with integrity, great beauty and benefit flow to all. When this power is used for personal gain only, everyone suffers. When the earth is parched, the rainmaker calls the water from the heavens, and all that is dormant in the field and in people's hearts spring to life again. The rainmaker is calling you to create something new from the elements that are already in your life. Be sure to work with what is and not what might be or could have been. The seeds that have been silently germinating in your heart will burst forth ready for the sunlight. Do not hold back. Put all your chips on the next roll of the divine dice. Recognize how you are co-creating your world. Nothing is happening out there without your involvement. Remember that the world is only mirroring back to you the conditions of your love and your intent. So change these within before you take any action. Do not take life personally. So it seems like there are some very co-creation and communicative skills here that can be used for the greater good. And maybe you are aware of that. And maybe you're doing it. When the power to co-create is used with integrity, great beauty and benefit flow to all. When this power is used for personal gain only, everyone suffers. So the intention of your rainmaking here is important. You can suffer if you have more personal or egoic intentions here. But you can also serve for the greater good if you call upon these elements here and want to manifest new situations. You could establish a lot of healing. So when the earth is parched, the rainmaker calls the water from the heavens, and all that is dormant in the field and in people's hearts spring to life again. Because he is not calling in the rain for his own benefit, he calls it in for everyone, right? And maybe at some point people would have found this deceitful. And again, it can also be your own experience depending on what you were manifesting. Like if you were manifesting out of egoic and selfish reasons, you could say maybe it felt like it was deceitful, right? Because you didn't get what you wanted. You got suffering out of it, perhaps. So this is maybe also something to consider, that, well, yeah, you have great manifestation powers. You co-create with the universe. All of us do. It's just how do we do it? And again, maybe you've been listening to certain teachers out there and they told you, oh, you should just do this and that, then you would co-create, and you found that it didn't work, right? It didn't work for you. And it was a hoax, that it didn't work. The point is, how do you do it? Like, how do you do this? Others may not have believed in this. They may not have believed that you have some kind of manifestation powers here. They may not have believed in what this is. We can take the book, I can read for you. That talking to the universe or talking to spirit guides, that is not that is a problem, not something to be trusted, something like that. It says here, this card, so communication, co-creation, non-verbal communication, love language, telepathy, unique ways of communication, light language, multidimensional information, community coexistence, relationships, meeting our higher selves, really seeing someone, and deeper listening. We normally think of information as something that can be written or spoken, but if something is multidimensional, it is quite impossible to share it with words. I feel I have quite a lot of this information in my field now, and yet my intelligence cannot fathom it. Metaphor or song may hint at its vastness, but it is more like a reminder or catalyst that encourages something to stir inside the listener. So that is a thing here. I feel like I want to read this also. How are you communicating beyond words? Perhaps you are being misunderstood because there is a dissonance between your words, actions, and behavior and what you mean to communicate. Words are like spells. So be cautious of what you say, as you may be verbally sabotaging your intended meaning. Also be reminded that words can mean different things to different people. Something may be getting lost in translation. An issue may be cleared through improved communication. Listen carefully to what someone has to say without interruption. Furthermore, it may feel scary to share vulnerable thoughts or truths, but this may be the only way forward. This card also encourages greater exploration in the realms of telepathy, healing, and the arts such as poetry, painting, and music, where there is collective communication beyond the mind. So yeah, it's like a communication setup here that is different, right? And that's why it could be to the outside world seen as useless even. Like they don't understand it. It's useless, or it's not proven. Again, it's a hoax. It's something like that. That's what I feel like. Okay. Can I get another card on the deceit here? Again, it's something, when we are children and it's dark in our room, we're going to sleep, and we feel like there's something under the bed. And we call out, and Mom come in, and they turn on the light, and you tell them there's something under my bed, right? Or there's something speaking to me. And they search the room, and they look under the bed, and they tell you, no, there's nothing there, right? And in their eyes, they are telling you the truth, but it may not be so, right? Like maybe you do have connection here with something. But it could be something that can be seen. It could be invisible. Maybe you can see them. Others cannot. They see it as it's not real. They say no, it doesn't exist, right? But maybe it does in your world. And again, you could have this back and forth feeling about it, like, well, maybe you do like it, but then on the other hand, it's problematic in other situations because they don't believe you, right? Again, I feel like I'm all about wholeness, so I would embrace that you do have this side to you. Others just don't get it, right? They don't hear the light language. They don't hear the telepathy. They don't have that information. They don't feel those emotions. They can't smell the same things as you can. They don't. And because you can, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that it's a lie. That it's not there. It definitely can be there. And I think you are. Otherwise this card wouldn't be there, Gemini. So I think you are co-creating. You're always co-creating. It can even be between your own twins here. Like your own shadow and yourself, right? Or yourself. Shadow and light. Like your two faces, you could say, the twin element. Like you could have one part of you doesn't trust this, and another part of you thinks that this is amazing. Just take it how it resonates, right? Another card on the deceit card here, please. So I get epiphany here. It says, joy through spiritual growth, be a light to others, answers that come through meditation. Archangel Raziel here. So this is crown chakra. As I said, this is also crown position. Communication is definitely crown chakra also. Third eye, throat chakra, crown chakra. So we talk about the head here. The throat, the neck, here. So I get epiphany here. So with the deceit card. So this is interesting, right? That you have some kind of download, but you don't trust it. or you have some kind of information here, but it's regarded as deceit. It can be your own voice, right? That you have one voice here, one of your own twins here, that is saying that this is just a hoax. I don't know what this information is or whatever came in here for you. I can't trust that. I don't know what it is. I can't trust it. I don't want to trust it, because if I trust it, this is actually real, right? And then you have another voice in you that says, what if these are real? What if this is real? Like what if this is possible? Or what if this is what I'm here to do? What if this is my life mission? What if I'm here to be a helper, to assist something? That I could exist in world energy, I could assist locally with like local people. I could be as I said, an intermediary, an interpreter. It's interesting, right? If you, let's say you have two people here and they come from different countries and they don't speak each other's language. As soon as you have and as long as they are there, they understand that they don't understand each other. Like they speak English and they speak African. So they understand some kind of African language, right? They understand that they cannot agree, that they can't find common ground. As soon as the interpreter comes into the room, the dynamic shifts. Now something can become, they can work together. Now they can figure something out. Now they can make new steps and agreements. Now they can, but as long as this one is not present, nothing happens. It's a stalemate. So this one has a very crucial influence on something here. And he is in service of them. Because there is, of course, there's a power here. If he's not translating correctly, or she, if they are not translating correctly, it changes the dynamic entirely, right? If they have good intentions and they just want to be as objective and non-judging as possible, they want to ensure that there's as clear communication between them as possible here. Now I get another. I don't know if you have seen a film called Arrival on Netflix, because now I get something about the interpretation skills, that this one has to be extremely clever. I saw a film called Arrival on Netflix that talks about a language professor and a math professor being picked up by US military to go to a site where there has been an alien spacecraft. And they actually got to talk to those aliens or to meet them. And they were trying to establish some kind of communication with them. And it took a while, of course. But the point is that, and I remember that there was this sentence that there were two language professors to choose from. And one of them said, if you go to the other one, then please ask him how to translate something into Sanskrit. And this military officer did ask him, and it was a wrong interpretation. It was a wrong translation. So it also means that the one sitting here has to be not only objective and maybe non-judgmental, but actually also very, very skilled to interpret the messages correctly. Otherwise, it's wrong message, right? It's not the right message. It could be deceitful. I think, any kind of reader on YouTube, well, I believe that anyone on YouTube, being a tarot reader or similar, well, they can only present information to the extent of their own healing or to their own awareness. Otherwise, because that's the limitation of any reader, I guess. So it says here, joy through spiritual growth, be a light to others, and answers that come through meditation. And then with the deceit card. And this is what I feel like the outside world, or maybe your family or friends could react like that. Like they could react in a way where, but that's not something you can trust. Like your intuition or a guideline from something here is not something to be trusted. It's useless. Yeah, I have the word useless. It's not something to be and then on the other hand, you have this feeling that it's almost like a calling, perhaps. Like this is like a mission, life mission or a life goal. But others may tell you that whatever joy you may have through this, this idea that you could be a light for others, an inspiration for others, that is not true. It could even be, anxiety that what if you are deceiving people? Like what if the things that you say is going to deceive people? Or lead them the wrong way? What if you are not good enough here? What if you are not a good enough translator here? Like between, again, as the book says, we talk about telepathy, we talk about sound, light language. This is all different, like it's a different way of communicating than we normally have with our verbal communication and language understanding. So some of the skills here, the skill set to interpret something is different. So what if I'm not doing it correctly, right? What if what if what I pick up on is not true? What if these downloads that I have, that they are not true here? This could even be, let's say you have downloads here about things that come, like a seer ability, that you can foresee something. But if you say it, like if you say that prepare yourself, something is coming in your life, people, they see it as a fraud. And maybe again, I think that people, if they have this skill set, like it can even like people can get frightened, like they don't understand it. I know there are people on YouTube that are speaking like language, that they talk about how they belong to certain starseed constellations, and that they work with some of the like language understandings. They speak some of it on videos and so on, but you know, it's a choice, right? To identify with that. It's a choice to show it to the world. Or maybe not to show it. To do it like that, this is your own private thing. Another thing is that if you should show it in public, well, again, maybe people will not like it. They may not like what you have to say. Maybe you even have the ability to point out liars here. Again, yin and yang, maybe you can point out who is lying and who is truthful. Like, because you're in the middle here, like maybe you can see who is lying, who is a liar. Maybe it's like an inbuilt lie detector here. Because you know, like you have a download here. You have epiphanies. Maybe you just instantly know that if you stand in front of someone, whether they're lying to you or not, like you can pick it up, perhaps here. That is quite a skill, you know. So I get a bit of scorpionic vibe here, like picking up if people are lying. That you have a skill set here to, you know, like, let's say there is a current and there's a person in front of you, right? And if you can feel this, you have a way to decipher something. It's like there are two informations coming to you simultaneously about a specific person perhaps in front of you, and you would know, like you would have a knowing here whether someone is lying to you or not here. Maybe you have a skill set to see both of their sides, like the light side and the shadow side. Like maybe you can see both of them. Because normally people, they show up in a certain way and they have certain secrets, you know. We all have something we're not showing on a first date and so on. And then, you know, eventually over time, maybe we say something or we do something or something like that. But this could be someone who can see, like from the get-go. You can see both, like you can see both sides. Or even, as I just mentioned, like if you meet someone who's very outgoing, very smart or very talkative and so on, just know that they have a shadow side. Like just know that they have a shadow side, which could be you. Maybe you are not as outgoing. Maybe you are not as talkative. Maybe you are more quiet. Maybe you are more emotional. Or maybe you are more... just know that if they are interested in you, it's because of something. Something you are. Or something at least you're showing. You're showing up like this. So like... that when we meet another person, they show something. They show a part of themselves that they have somehow succeeded with. This is something that works for me. And then there can be something else. And this other side could be, it says deceit, but it says deceit here, but this can also talk about maybe... the things that we don't want to show the world. I don't know, deceit, it's just... Deceit usually talks about intent, that we deliberately want to cheat someone else, we deliberately want to do harm, we deliberately want to cause problems, or to steal or something, to betray someone. So that's, again, it has to do with intentions here. What the intentions do you have? Or what intentions do others have? With the insight here and the epiphany, it could talk about you realizing something about the environment you're in, that it has been deceitful all the way. Like there has been lies around you always. What the matrix tells you is a deceit. What society is a big... it's just a power demonstration. Or whatever you may see it like. It has a certain voice, you could say. And again, the rainmaker stirs up things. It changes something. So that could be this feeling of knowing that you are in an environment that is really not... It's not telling the entire truth here. There are lies here. And you know that. You know it. And maybe you want to stir something. Like maybe you want to add some fairness to a situation. The rainmaker here could be like a whistleblower. You know, like someone who is... Because you have insights here, you could speak these truths that is exposing something here. Maybe you want to be the rainmaker. Like maybe you want to be like a whistleblower. Someone who is I don't know, criticizing society, criticizing other kinds of institutions maybe. Wanting to take action perhaps. Maybe you feel like you are calling to blow something up here. You know, bring in some... Again, the rainmaker can be, as I said, like a soothing. It wants to bring something, some kind of healing to something. If we figure out that there's betrayal in our midst, what we want to do is point it out, perhaps, here. We want to point it out. We want them to be... We want it to be known, perhaps. We want to show it to the world. We want to tell others about them. We want to warn perhaps. That could also be what the Rainmaker is, like a warning. We want to warn the world about what the Matrix is, or what the voice of the Matrix is. It's a power demonstration, or whatever, how you may see it. That you have the epiphanies here about deceit in your midst, about betrayal or stealing or something. That and the Rainmaker usually stirs something up. The stalemate breaks when the Rainmaker comes into the room. When, as I said with the interpreter here, like when these are alone, they can't seem to figure it out. When you come in here, when the Rainmaker comes in, what they are doing here is they could expose something. Like they could expose something. Right? They could bring forth some kind of truth here about some kind of relationship, or that is the power here. That this is what they can do. You can do. They have the ability to see something here. Maybe this is both like a curse and a blessing, you know? Maybe you feel like, I see this all the time about other people. And it's a curse because it's difficult for me to have friends, maybe. And at the same time, I'm also glad that I can see this. So I will not be fooled or taken advantage of or something like that. But you see, again, this love-hate thing, like it's an ability here to see through some veil or scam or something. And you could do, like, you could influence it. You could make a fuss here. You could make the rain come. You could speak it, say it. But you can also just walk away, I guess. But you know that there could be this calling that I'm maybe given this gift for a reason. Maybe I should use it for something. But it has to be the right intentions, right? It has to be for a greater good. But if I'm in the room, it's like I can scan the people and I can see which one is this, right? I can see who is the troublemaker. I can see who is the one that is Judas. I can look amongst my colleagues and know which one has like deceptive intentions, perhaps. I just know, right? I don't know, maybe you can even have fun with this, like, you know, so it could be a curse, it could be a blessing. But again, I feel like what people are not saying, what people do not want to expose, perhaps, well, it's usually because it is not welcome. Like it has not been welcomed and approved of and applauded and appreciated when you were a child. it's not approved of or accommodated or welcomed because it's criminal, it's illegal, it's again deceitful, it can be, and because of that, people are not saying anything. But I think you have the ability to see or understand or know something here. Sometimes the book said something about that, that this is a different way of communicating. This can be a vibe that people have around them. That you may be able to pick up on a vibe here. Well, we know people have, it can be the way they dress, it can be their body language, it can be the way they speak and so on. But you know, there can be another thing, another tune or vibe to people that you may be able to pick up on here. And others don't. Like they don't see it, they don't hear it, they don't experience it, they don't understand it. Again, if you tell them, if you point out some person or something and say, I don't think you should trust that one, they may not understand why. And you may have a difficult time explaining why, because it's just something you just know, right? You just know. Another card on the Rainmaker here. So I get Knight of Pentacles here. Knight of Pentacles is usually the only knight that actually gets to the end goal. We say about him that slow and steady wins the race. So there's something about patience here. Something about I get this feeling of like a bit cautious, like being the Rainmaker here. I'm not sure that with the Knight of Pentacles here that this is something that can be, I don't think it can be rushed. If you are developing a Rainmaker here, that you are in a process of developing and becoming more and more certain of your skills here. Knight of Pentacles, as I say, he's on the move. He's not a king yet. He's on the move. He's following. Knights are usually bound by certain rules, certain honor, certain code, you could say. I feel like he could be at this point in time, he could be a bit of a decoder, meaning that he knows normal verbal communication. Now he's slowly but surely figuring out what this other communication skill is about, what this other manifestation skill is about. But it's not a quick process. Like he is slowly but surely feeling more and more into this. again, and he's fully armored with mask and everything. I get a feeling that this is not spoken. That this, I wouldn't say it's a secret, but you're not saying it. You have a clear awareness about it, like these epiphany downloads here. You have a clear awareness about it, but you're not saying it necessarily. Or if you're saying something, it's a bit cautious. It's not something you just throw on the table. You are the rainmaker, you can throw it, but you may not do it always. Again, he operates from a certain honor or code or something. So when I want to manifest something, I want to do it with a specific code, with a specific honor. I want to honor something specific. I want to, whatever manifestations I'm doing here, it must be with the right code. Like the knight usually works for a kingdom, right? For a king. And he is in service of that king. So here again we have someone who is in service of something, wants to honor something, wants to have a specific code to something. Certain intentions. I guess that in fairy tales, I guess that knights are seen as these rescuers, right? Like they are seen as like the good guys that defend the castle and the king and the princess, and there's this code that they are supposed to protect and serve, right? And developing here. The knight is developing. Slow and steady wins the race here. So whatever abilities you have here may be in progress, right? In progress. But you may not speak about it. And I think you have this lie detector skill that you can pick this up. It could be the feeling that you can stand in front of a person and you can see both of their sides. Like you can see the light side that they normally show everyone, but you can see the other one also. You can see the one they are trying to hide also. Or you can pick it up, you can feel it, or you can just, I don't know, I say smell it or hear it or something. You can hear it or smell it or see it or feel it. So I'm very drawn to his hands here. So it could be even, and here this one is touching with his hand, the one in the middle. I get this feeling of, just by a handshake, perhaps. Like if you shake the hand of someone here, you can feel it. Or there's something they're doing with their hands, maybe a posture or something. It's just that you can pick up on that. Well, it depends on what you believe in, but in meditation circles, there's this talk about mudras, that when you sit in meditation pose, that you can put those fingers together, but you can use the others as well. There are different mudras. So you can take 2 fingers and touch, and they influence certain energy meridians or something in the body. They're called mudras, these hand positions that you can do when you meditate, right? This is the most common known one, but there are many. You can use all fingers. So that is an energy thing that you can work with. I know that if you sit in meditation, some are using this, like they put their hands together and the thumbs touch. There is something known about when the thumbs point upwards, or whether you have a more what is that? Can I even do that? How would they would maybe do something like that. I don't know. That's not a relaxed position. I think it is if you do something like this. Like if you point downwards, it's more to the devil, you would say, and if you put upwards, it's more to the heavenly realm. So there could be something about how people position their hands. Like, do they have them on the side, or how are they positioning their hands? And there's something about again maybe an energy imprint if you shake hands with someone, that you can just instantly, you just know something here about them. So it's like looking through a mask, you could say. Like having the ability to look through a mask. They could present, like being very stylish, or, they could be presenting as very accomplished business person or something. But the instant that you stand there, it could be the feeling that you get information about them. Not only how they show up, but also this other side of them. Because they could be skilled business people. But you also get if they have like other intentions, secondary agendas, and so on here. Like epiphanies, like it just comes in like that out of the blue. Maybe you, like earlier on in life, you didn't quite know what to do with that information. Maybe you discarded it. Like you didn't know what to think of it. But now you do, I think. Now you are actually listening. Now you are understanding that there could be something to this that I have to be aware of. Let's have another card on this communication, co-creation here. Yeah, so I get 6 of Earth here, and 6 of Earth is about balance. It's about equality, equal give and take. It's about, again, maybe standing in the middle of something, or being... It's almost like when I see this, it's the feeling that it's almost like visiting someone's head here. Like you could look inside their head. So you stand in here and you see these different parts of them. Right? So it's like it's like a telescope sight that you can kind of pierce through some kind of veil and see more somehow. And because you have that knowledge, you can use that. If you speak to them, you have ways of, let's say you know something about their vulnerabilities. You can decide what kind of tone and language and words you want to use if you want to communicate with them. It's an advantage, you could say, to have that information. That what you stand in front of, what kind of intentions does it have? Do they have? And do I want to be around this? How do I find, can I somehow have, is it possible to find balance here? Do I even want to participate here, right? Do I want to participate here? Or is it not for me, Again, you could get an exciting invite from someone, right? And you could actually look forward to this. You could look forward to this, I don't know, maybe it's a work arrangement, but there's, festivity and music and free bar and dinner and and actually it may look quite great for the curious and talkative part of you, right? Gemini, right? But then there's this other side of you that kind of just, that when I talk to people, it feels like I'm talking to their mask, That people are never really real, like they always show up with some kind of mask. And I know there's something else going on in there. It just feels like they are, well, it's like people it could feel like people are fraud. Like they are, why are they not honest? Or why are they not just showing up the way they are? Why do I have to I get, actually it's a bit annoying. Annoying that people are not truthful. I think with this ability, I guess that it could be quite seldom that you actually meet people that are pretty straightforward, honest, that are not hiding something here. So I have another card here on the deceit card, right? And I get this Page of Swords here. It's about communication, what they say. And I find it so interesting when I look at this guy, because it's like, again, we see here that there's one side of him that is light, and then one side of his face that is covered with some kind of shadow here. So when he speaks, there's something that he wants you to know, and something he's proud of showing, something that he feels great about sharing. And then there's this other side that he's not proud of, or he wants to hide, or where there are secondary agendas, or he is lying to you, like he's just telling you what you want to hear, but not what he truly means, right? Not what he truly means. And that is the deceit feeling, that people always have some kind of secondary agenda. Well, I can tell you, this is my personal understanding, that I believe everyone has secondary agenda. Everybody wants what they want. Like everybody wants the best for themselves. Like we are highly self-managed. Like we would like all our personal needs to be met unconditionally. But we know that that is not possible. So sometimes people show up like this to get something, right? To get their way. But I just see you, that you can see through that somehow. Like the human part of us is highly self-driven. Like it's always on the outlook for the best possible, most accommodating result. Whatever your needs are. That's my personal understanding. Whether it's drama, whether it's peace, whether it's power, whether it's love, whether it's always on the outlook of the most beneficial and most abundant outcome in whatever area whatever you're looking for. Always. Even the most so-called selfless people underneath it all, there could still be one kind of need that is served from the deeds that they do. And then, of course, you have these like very enlightened gurus that are actually doing good deeds because, and they do not have second agendas, they have already figured this out. But I think that if we may not acknowledge this about ourselves, I guess that again we are just deceiving ourselves, we're just lying to ourselves if we are not acknowledging this shadow part of ourselves. We all want to present well, put the best foot forward. Like the most successful part of us, the most maybe beautiful part of us. But the other one still exists, and I think it's well, personally, I think that's what shadow work is all about. It's about realizing that this other part of us is actually quite okay too. Even if it doesn't act how society wants us to, even if it has a very brutal honesty that is not liked, even if it is rigid in certain people's eyes, even if it goes against the stream, even if it's loud, even if it's quiet, even if it's bad. Because again, bad depends on the eye of the beholder, who is watching you. In what way are you bad? If you want to hurt a lot of people, well, guess you would be bad. You would be more of a predator then. Like a predator in the wild. There are so many ways of seeing something that if you turn it and turn it upside down and you look from another angle, you could realize that something that seemingly is bad can actually be good for something else, and vice versa. I don't think that life is that simple. There are certain traditions in the Western world, and there are certain traditions in maybe Asia or Africa that if I would do my European way in Asia, I would offend people, right? I could offend people there. And not because I want to, not intentionally, but I could. Just simply because I act differently. I may speak differently. I don't have the same rituals or understandings. It's not because I want to be a bad person or impolite or something, but simply the way I would look or dress or speak could be enough. So this, I guess, it could be the feeling that no matter where you are, you can't quite trust anyone. That all have another agenda somehow. And that could be a bit of a, well, a bit like a curse, right? That nobody is really honest. And of course, from that point, you could get into paranoia, right, or something like that, but I don't think you necessarily have to. I think actually you are aware of this, but I get it. Like you are, the Gemini is ruled by Mercury. This is about communication. It's about all sorts of communication, not just normal verbal and written language communication. There are many other kinds. And it seems like you have a way of picking this up, knowing this. That somehow you are some kind of interpreter. You can interpret energy in a different way. You can understand things in a different way through a handshake or through some epiphany insights here, intuition and I think that slowly but surely there's something building here. An awareness that this ability is maybe not a curse. Actually, maybe I can use this. I could use this, right? But again, this is not a normal skill set. You can't go to school and learn this. It's an ability you have within you. And again, if you say this out loud at a job interview, people like think that you are lying, right? Or that this is weird or something. I believe all people have second agendas in the sense that they want the best for themselves. Everybody wants. It's just whether we want to be honest about it or not. We are all on the outlook for the most maybe comfortable or abundant experience. I just don't think that all people are honest about it. I think it would help if we were, because then it could be easier to figure out, okay, but what is the most abundant for you then? And if you figure out what that is, okay, go towards that then. And not lie about it, like not lie about. Again, maybe the lying here, the deceit is what you do every day. You go to work and pretend that you enjoy it, perhaps. So the lying is maybe also on your part, right? It's and I'm by no means better than anyone else here. I have found myself doing this a lot. My spiritual awakening has taken me through a great journey of exploration, in what way I have deceived myself, dishonored myself, self-sabotaged myself, even annihilated myself. So I'm pretty familiar with this one, right? But also why I did it, like that has been an exploration again, right? I did it for a reason. I thought I would have better terms. I thought I would have better conditions. And as a child, I did it to find peace. I did it for many reasons, right? But that's what I say. There is always a reason underneath everything. There's always a reason why people do the things they do. No matter how shadowy or so-called evil or bad they are, there's always a reason. But I get this constellation, like it's difficult, right? It's like it feels like a curse, but it may also be a blessing, right? But maybe you're glad that you know, but at the same time it's maybe very difficult to find friends, right? Again, because you see through the lie here, you can call it out. You could say it. You could tell people that they're lying. You could tell them that I see that what you're doing is a lie. You are vulnerable, right? But if you do that, people run away from you, right? They don't want to have anything to do with you then. It's too brutal, it's too open, it's too honest. Even though it's the truth, they don't like it. People don't like that we look through their mask. I don't like necessarily people looking through my mask, but I don't know if there's much left yet that I haven't looked at, but you get my point, right? We don't like that. You probably don't like it either, Gemini, right? If someone looks through your mask and can see things in you. It's a bit scary, right? It's like the armor we have on here. It's like being naked, right? But that is exactly also what you can do to others, right? That you can, it's like you can undress them here. You can see their vulnerabilities or their evil intents or something. You can see a truth of something. You can see them showing up here with one sword as their truth, but there's always another one. Even if people say that this is my truth, or this is the right decision, this is that's a problem with giving advice to other people, right? It is because, well, it always depends on them, right? It depends on their situation. What is truth to me may not be like good information for someone else. At least not if they are not ready to hear it, or if they are in a place where they can't take action on it. Like a child, for instance, this is a page, right? Like they may not be able to take action or change something. Even the idea that just because people act differently, something that is unfamiliar can sometimes be seen as rigid or bad. But that may not always be the full understanding of everything. It just means it's different. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad or evil or useless. It just means it's different. Okay, so I feel like I wanted an advice here, because I'm kind of describing a scenario here. Maybe something you've realized about yourself, and maybe you've even not trusted it yourself early on in life, right? But so an advice here, because I feel like this could be something that is slowly and surely progressing in some way. It progresses. Maybe an urge to do something. I also see like this knight, he's riding through this territory here. But he may not know exactly the destination, right? He may know he's moving towards something, but not knowing exactly the destination here. So again, I get this feeling of like a rainmaker in making, or like, where can this actually be expressed or said and actually matter? Like, where can I bring rain, What situation should I bring rain to? And maybe having this feeling of, searching for it, or finding a meaning of, why is it that I somehow can pick this up? What am I supposed to do with that? Can we have an advice card here on this, please? So I have 5 of Michael here. 5 of Michael, and you can even see it here. We have light here, we have darkness here. This idea of, it says here, this situation doesn't serve you. Release your attachment to the outcome. Consider taking a more uplifting approach. And this is an advice card. So 5 of Michael would say 5 of Swords. 5 of Swords are situations with lies, betrayal, cheating, stealing, things done behind your back, manipulation, things like that. And this is an advice card, right? So it's probably, I guess, about, because you know this, like because you can see like the difference. Like, you may ask yourself whether you want to be in that, like you want to take part in situations like this, or whether you want to get out of them. But this could also be exactly the advice that if you're looking for a place where this could actually be useful, it would be in situation like this. It would be with something like this. It would be that you would stand right there in the middle between these two elements, calling out what situation is not serving people. Yes, releasing the attachment to an outcome. So even if you can help people, even if they don't want to listen, even if they don't want your advice, well, you just have to release that attachment, you could say. But you could help people see something. Like if they are in relationships that are manipulative or destructive, that you could help them see here. Right? That would be an advice here, that if you put yourself in this situation, that you stand here between two different scenarios here. Just know that if you should stand here, you should be very aware not to be attached to the outcome. So not have any emotions in this. But yes, you could still be an advisor. You could offer advice on whether something can be trusted or not. It's just whether you want to stand here or not. And I think you are slowly but surely figuring this out. Yeah, this is what I have, Gemini. I hope this helps somehow. Take care of yourself out there. As always, I send you my best love and light to you. Bye-bye.